Welcome back to the Tales of St. Gwen. Today, Inquisitor Scully calls upon the Deathwatch. And so to begin. I had been in battles before, on the ground and in the sky, but rarely had I been aboard a starfaring ship while it was under fire from space pirates. Scully was barking orders at the helmsman. I was supervising the guns, and Tim was working fast to figure out who had the gall to attack us. Another round of cannons went off, destroying a number of their ships, but they were still moving faster than we could. "Don't give me excuses," I barked. "Give me results. Fire on the other side as well." "Helmsman, get us clear of the debris," Scully barked as I did. "I want a clear visual on who attacked us." Our cannons fired as we moved clear of the debris, giving us a clear shot of who attacked us. I recognized the crude makeshift battle cruiser that we faced, and the symbol on the side. "Orcs, sir," I called to Scully, not even turning to look at him. "What do the greenskins want with us?" Tim's voice asked, trying to steady himself as we let out another shot. "Emperor only knows," Scully said, his eyes fixated on their flagship. "Helmsman, bring us about to port side. Gwen, prepare to fire." Once we were positioned, I called for the order, obliterating their flagship and sending the remaining small craft running. "Gwen, get up here now." I followed Scully's orders, getting to the war table quickly and stood next to him. "I need you to follow them. Find out what planet they are hiding on." "Of course. I will be sending reinforcements your way." "I need to know why they did this. Once you land, observe them." With a short nod, I went to my Valkyrie, grabbing my firearms as I went and flew after the orcs. It wasn't hard to find them. They were flying practical death traps that were leaving behind trails of them, and I could follow that all the way to a dusty-looking planet. I sent the location to Scully before navigating my way through the layers of gas of the planet's atmosphere. Making sure I landed far enough away, I adorned my helmet and weapons before exiting the Valkyrie and stepping onto an endless desert. Gathering information on the greenskins was easier than I thought possible. They weren't exactly hard to miss, and their encampment was also as thrown together as their battle cruisers. It wouldn't be hard to overtake their flimsy barricade, but what lay inside was what was troubling. "Gwen, report." "At least 100, I reported to Scully from a perch of a desert tree, thankful they decided to settle near a water hole. "Possibly more. Wouldn't be hard to attack their encampment, but what I don't understand is why they attacked us." "How close were we to their planet?" "Not close enough to entice a turf war, and I haven't seen any other tribes for them to be fighting against." "Tim has a theory. Do you remember back when you were still fresh to battle and killed a group of orcs?" "That was a long time ago. What does this have to do with that?" "You and your late commander killed the war boss. We believe that this war boss came from that clan." "So what? They've been holding a grudge for that long. Can orcs even remember that many years?" "Oh, yes. And I believe they remember your face. Gwen, you're the reason they attacked." "What do you want me to do? I'm not retreating." "Your reinforcements will be there in the morning. Share your intel with them. I've already relayed this information to them, and then deal with the orcs." "With pleasure." By morning I could tell the orcs knew a large cruiser was inbound. They were prepping for war, and I would hate to disappoint them. Sliding down the tree, I met the multiple drop pods that landed not far from the Valkyrie, knowing the sigil immediately. The Imperial Eye with a skull was known by anyone who fought Xenos. Scully had called upon the Deathwatch. Their armor, black, stood out against the desert planet as much as mine did, and their stature was imposing. All Deathwatch members come from Loyalist Space Marine chapters, veterans who were put together to serve the Inquisition and were the lead in a metaphoric bullet. "Sister Gwen," the captain spoke, stopping when he reached me. "Report." "Over 100 greenskins, all preparing for battle. They have minimal defenses as far as I could tell." "Good. Will you be joining us?" "I won't miss out on an opportunity to kill Xenos." "Good." Even in full-out run, I was having a hard time keeping up with the Deathwatch. But that didn't stop me as we charged the gates. While the Deathwatch slammed their bodies against the door to open them, I focused my attention on the sky where their few aerial ships were now appearing. "Give me a lift." I ran towards one of their team, stepping on their hands, and they tossed me up, gripping onto one of their flight bombers. With the butt of my rifle, I broke in the glass, grabbing the Gretchen inside, and tossed him out. Using the turret on the ship, I managed to shoot down their only other flight bombers, hearing the Deathwatch make it into the encampment below. Turning the joystick so I was hovering over the battle, I continued to shoot the crowd of greenskins, clearing a path of the Deathwatch to get in. Suddenly, I had more weight on my aft position, and I turned to look. A large greenskin had jumped onto the craft and was now making his way towards my position. Without a second thought, I tilted the ship into a downward position and floored it. The orc screamed in shock as we got closer to the ground, and at the last minute, I jumped out, letting it crash hard into their speeder bikes. As I rolled onto the ground, I produced my neural whip, using it to cut down any who tried to gain ground on my dismount. Standing up, I looked face to face with the war boss. You killed our war boss." I jumped back just in time as he buried his heavy weapon into the ground. Keeping my distance would be the key in fighting him, but if we could kill him, we would have the advantage. I kept dodging his attacks, looking for an opening, but this only angered him more. Instead of swinging his weapons, he reached out to grab me, allowing me to cut off his arm with my neural whip. His scream of pain alerted his minions, who all swarmed to me. I tried to hold them off, but soon they overwhelmed me, pinning me to the ground so that way their war boss could get a clear shot. "Gwen!" It was déjà vu. I saw the Deathwatch tossing me one of their pistols, as my commander had done with her shotgun years ago. I managed to free one of my arms, punching a Gretchen hard in the face to do so, and caught the pistol. It was huge in comparison to my own, but it had the same mechanics. Aim, shoot, which is what I did, shooting a hole into the war boss's face, making him stumble back into the waiting death guard. Tossing the pistol back, I grabbed my own pistol and continued to thin out the remaining orcs. By the time the sun set, blood red to match the battle, even though the ground was covered in green, we had cleared out the encampment. After a few short words, I loaded back into my Valkyrie and followed the Deathwatch back to Scully's ship. "You smell," Tim said once I reached the war table. "Let's see how you smell after a day of being in the desert. And fighting." Tim sneered at me before moving out of the way for the Deathwatch to join the table. "Inquisitor, the orc presence is eliminated," their captain said. "And here is the information you requested." I tried to get a look at the information, but it was handed off too quickly. "Gwen, you smell. Go take a shower." Huffing, I left the war table, going to the fresher. Scully made sure I was gone before addressing the Deathwatch captain. "What did you find?" Her old commander's body was never recovered, As far as we can tell, the Necrons had no interest in it. Left it on the planet once they awoke and left. By all accounts, the body should be there, but it wasn't. And the sightings? All confirmed. The commander is moving around even though she clearly died. We suspect some sort of chaos, intervention, or involvement. Dead bodies don't just get up and walk around. Not even in our grim future. The god of plague has something called the zombie plague. Could that be it? Possibly. But just one. Why just her commander? Unclear. We are still compiling information. Continue doing that. That is all. The Deathwatch cleared out of the room, leaving Tim alone with Scully. Is it wise to hide this from Gwen? What? Are you starting to like her? What I mean is that her commander was very important to her. She won't be pleased to hear that she is up and walking around. Until we know what is going on, you keep your mouth shut. That's an order. Tim hissed at Scully before leaving as well, leaving him to go over the information the Deathwatch had collected. Thank you for coming to this tale of St. Gwen. If you liked it, please give it a like, comment down below, subscribe as it all helps the channel greatly. And I will see you in the next one.